This is Ware County Board of Commissioners public hearing for fiscal year 2027 budget. I'm gonna do a roll call first. Mr. Burst, Mr. Tindall.
Here.
Mr. Lucas, Mr. Cox.
Here.
And the chair's here. So before we start though on the agenda, after the roll call, I'm gonna ask Mr. Tindall if he would lead us in prayer. Y'all would stand.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day. Thank you for the honor to be up here to serve you, to serve our community. Lord, I ask that you would help to lead, guide, and direct us in the dealings of the county budget today. Lord, give us wisdom and give us knowledge of everything that you would have us know, Lord. And ask that your blessings be on us in this county, this state, and this country. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This is on the agenda item is presentation on the proposed budget for the fiscal year ending June the 30th of 27. We have our proposed budget. And James, I'll ask you if you would
introduce it.
kind of explain what you can to us, what we need to.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What you have before you have two documents before you. One is proposed FY 2027 proposed budget. And then the other is actually a presentation. So what I would ask is if we can ask Ms. Short to come up and do the presentation first, and then if we need to answer any questions afterwards, we can
Okay.
do that.
Okay, come on up.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
First, I want to apologize because this is probably the latest I have ever done this. And, but that doesn't mean I haven't been working with the staff, because the staff have been really good about trying to cut and trying to shave off here and there. And this is what we've come up with to this point. And I still have some bills for this month that are being recorded. And once I see what some of those bills, like the telephone bill, we finally got our telephone system changed. And the first bill shocked us because it was so low, and it was the installation included with the first month's service. So I want to see what those numbers look like for this month that I record, and I'm pretty sure we can probably shave off a little more before we get to our approved budget for next week. But this is going to be a pretty good estimate right here of what we've got to work with. Let's see. Most of these numbers are based off of previous years. This was last year's budget that we presented to you guys. And you can see the general fund was at $32 million. And then we had our SPLOST and our other special funds. And this is we're pretty close to where we need to be on all these funds. This is our funds for this year, the FY27. We're estimating we need $34 million to operate the county and all the services that are provided by the county. The SPLOST money, most of that is for the overpass, but we do have money available to spend, and it's right at $9 million to spend out of that for the things that were voted on in that referendum. We have LMIG money, which is that capital improvement for public roads. That's where we get our LMIG money, and that's grants to work on the road. And there's probably a little more than that in that account right now, because I think we have 2 LMIGs that have been approved and we've received the money, or do we have 3?
We have 3 LMIGs that haven't been fully expended.
Right, so there's probably a little more than that, and that money right there is definitely for nothing but roads. So the T-SPLOST was the single county T-SPLOST. That has run out. There are no funds left available in it that will carry into next year, I don't think. We had like $277,000 in that account, and we've been paying for the litter pickup and the mowing on the sides of the road. So we should be done with that account soon. Then we have that regional T-SPLOST. There's more than that in that account. They give us like $125,000 a month. And that's about what we'll receive for the year. So that's kind of the way I budget that, but we have that money there to spend on road projects. Anything that pertains to transportation, we can pay out of that account. The 911 fund, it costs a lot of money to operate 911. We're at $1.3 million according to this coming up budget. And the state will send us about $600K, maybe $500K. That comes from the fees off of cell phone bills and telephone bills. There's a little 911 fee attached to it. So that does not come close to paying for the operation of the 911 center. The airport's at an almost $1 million budget this coming up year, but it makes a little revenue, so we don't completely fund that either. The workers' comp fund, we have to fund that for workers' comp and our health fund. This number for the health fund is the same number I used last year, mainly because we budget for our high claims since we went self-insured or self-funded, and every year we've been self-funded, we finish under budget. This will probably be the first year we have not. We're going to be over our budget. But we left that money in the health fund because we knew these years would roll around. So we still have that reserve in the health fund to help offset what we're going to be over for the FY26.
Okay.
The negative effects on this budget is what the state gives us or what the feds give us. We never know. If they cut stuff, then they're gonna cut us. So we have to be prepared. We're gonna be monitoring the revenues. If they fall off, then we're gonna have to make some adjustments somewhere. Everyone knows fuel has went up. Hopefully it's gonna come down. But with all the fuel we use for the heavy equipment in the road department, EMS, the ambulances, the fire trucks, the fuel, the sheriff's vehicles, I mean, we have a large county to cover and they end up using a lot of fuel. So I did not lower fuel costs at all in this budget. I left them pretty lofty. Training and seminars are very costly, and there may be a point at some time as we're moving into the year that we need to look at needed training only, or maybe sending 1 or 2 to this year and 1 or 2 next year or something. I don't know, the county manager and I talked about it. He's gonna have to get with the department heads and talk about some of that. We've done a pretty good job of not purchasing any non-essential items this FY. And we're looking at not purchasing anything that we don't have to have for next FY. And a lot of the increased expenses are due to cleaning costs. Office supplies have gone up. I mean, everything has gone up. Utility bills, all of it. And we're requesting a cost of living for the employees, and that's to keep and maintain quality employees, because we need those people working with us. Here's a 3-year comparison, 25, how much revenue we had, and you see how much expense we had, and that was because of the hurricanes and the snow we had. Well, we finally received all of our money we got from FEMA and GEMA, so our reserves are still intact. The FY26 budget, you can see what we budgeted for revenue and our expense to date right now. So we're just under, we got another month's worth of expense to record. So we're going to finish really close. In the FY27 budget, you see how the numbers have they go up every year, and we just have to figure out how we're going to pay for things. The budgeted revenues that are needed for this year have increased 6.62% over last year. So, or this year. This is an estimate of the expenditures for Ware County, and we budgeted our revenue according to what we need. And we'll be monitoring the revenues and the expenditures throughout the year. And you can see the biggest portion comes from taxes, and that's not just property taxes. We have the loss tax, the 1 penny sales tax that helps fund the general fund operating. And we have excise taxes, and there are a lot of other taxes that we get a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there. And 81% of our base is taxes. The expenditures this FY, public safety was 51% of our budget. You can see for next year, we're expecting 52% of our budget to go for public safety. The judicial system's at 12%. The other small little things up there, general government, up a percentage, I think, from FY26, and that's because of insurance costs. We gotta pay insurance on everything. Property insurance. We are requesting a 5% COLA for the employees, and our health insurance, the fees we have to pay have gone up 6.5%. So we know we're gonna have to increase that much on the fees, but you still budget high for the claims, and hopefully you come in under budget and not go over budget with the high claims. This is a comparison of FY26 and FY27, where some of those increases were. 911's increased a good bit. The airport, a small amount. You can see Rec department has gone up a little. The more programs you offer, the more people it takes to operate. You have to have those people in place, and the rec department is a big money thing for Ware County, because these people come in and play ball, they're spending money in the stores, they're helping our tax base. They have tournaments out there, and they have to have qualified people to operate it. Public Works has gone up, public safety has gone up, the judicial system's gone up, general government went up some. All the expenses across the board have gone up. And every year, we have been budgeting as low as we can. And every year, we have finished under budget, except I'm not sure about FY26. FY26, we're gonna finish really, really close. These are some expenses that we pay to other agencies in Ware County. And most of this benefits city residents as well as county residents. Even if you go back to the previous slide, EMS, 911, all of that benefits the city as well as it does the county. So we're picking up a lot of services that we have to provide, and the cost of providing those services are just going higher and higher and higher. Let's talk about our lost revenue. That's the one penny that goes into this general fund every year. The county has received $4.8 million in that revenue through May of last month, but I still have 2 months to record. I still have, that was for April, I still have May and June to record, so I'm looking to get about another $800K for that. That's going to help us on our revenue side. But last year, our revenue increased from the previous year for loss like 5.9%. This year, it's only increased 3.9%. So we're still running really close. Our 2014 SPLOST, we have one line item there for public facility projects, and after I spoke with James this morning, that's how much money is left in that account. We should have that used up, so that account will go away. There's not been any revenue put in that one for quite a while. We've just been spending it as we need. The GDOT funds in the LMIG account, there's how much we have received in GDOT funds for FY26. And we have approximately $2 million that has been spent on resurfacing and road improvements already. And this is just out of that account. That's not counting any match. Because if we paid any match, it came out of the SPLOST account. So we have been putting a lot of money into trying to fix up the roads and make the roads more passable for emergency people and the school buses and all that good stuff. So here's a little information on the SPLOST 23 account. That's our newest SPLOST. And we have the $12 million that's set aside for the overpass. And then the other projects that were included, some of the other projects that were included on the referendum are on this page. The T-SPLOST is that's the single county T-SPLOST. That's the one we have about $277,000 in. And we've been using that on the transportation, roads, anything that we need. Because it's probably interest money that we drew over the years. So we spent everything that was spent on the approved projects, and we gave our $5 million to the DOT for our part of the State Street. It's not State Street anymore, is it? I've been here all my life. It's Ossie Davis overpass. Yeah. The regional T-SPLOST program, that's how much money we have received as of the end of May, $10 million. Ware County has local street improvement projects in that account for the future. And this is that penny that, if you look at the sales tax rate, it says Ware County gets this penny. Ware County doesn't get this penny. This penny is split. The state gets 75% of that penny, and we get 25% of that penny. So, the other counties in our region, they all contribute to this, and then every month they send us about $125,000. That's what and it's called discretionary funds. So as long as we're using that money for transportation related issues, public roads, something to do with bettering the road system or anything for transportation, that's what we've been spending that on. So as the needs come up or the projects come up, we pay them out of this fund. That's pretty much the budget for next year. We appreciate everything you guys do for us to consider what's going on in the county. I know I've been here all my life, and I never knew the county paid for so many things that benefited the residents of this county. So it's a pleasure for me to be able to work with a team that is trying to make our county better. And that's all I have for you guys.
Okay, Beverly.
I've got a couple of questions.
Okay.
So on the 23 splosh, where we've got 12 million dedicated to the overpass on Albany Avenue, I know we're looking at going to be over budget on that one based on that. I think the last figures were pushing somewhere around 16 million.
16 and a half, I believe.
16 and a half. So we've got that accounted for out of that 27 million that's come in.
Not the overage. The overage will probably come from that region.
Okay. So then moving to the regional,
Yes. Now,
that $10 million of regional income that we've gotten through May of 26, is that the entire time that this 10-year
Yes.
splosh has come in?
yes.
How long has it been in on this one?
20, 29, 21,
2018.
maybe,
So-
yeah.
So
Well,
20
single county went in
18 or 19.
2018, right? And then it was the next year whenever the,
Yes.
yeah, that was right after the state took advantage
Right.
of not letting us know what they were going to do.
That's
yeah.
right, absolutely.
So we've received $10 million over, what was it, 8 years now,
Yes,
and we
Right.
put in 6.6 a year. So
Two-
so we're donating to everybody else,
yes, everyone else is donating.
and that's just how it works. All the larger counties, Ware County, Tift County, Lowndes County, we're all donating to everybody else, so everybody else can get stuff done.
Yeah.
And then that way, it also makes it where DOT can keep their money above the Macon-Dixon line.
Like the 6.6,
So
this county put in, part of that went to this project out here, and is
Yeah,
that
the
the only
bridge.
project that we had on that TIS
The
list?
Blackshear Bridge was on
Yeah.
on the Ware County side.
right,
That-
right, it come out of
Ware
our
County.
Right.
Not
designated
Pierce
funds or whatever.
Our
So we get
region.
but we get $125,000 a month. So we get about, like you said, about $1.5 million a year after putting in $6.5 million a year. And so
You are
then
correct.
$4.5 million goes to everybody else to split up. You know, I don't know where everybody's at, but sounds like a,
And they are gonna collect their money, or if they haven't already, they set an amount that is supposed to be unobtainable, but they've actually reached that amount or approaching reaching that amount. So they gave us 900,000.
That was from the TL1.
Yeah, that was for overage, excess, they called it.
right.
So we did receive that almost $1 million last
Yeah.
month.
So what they've done, I think TL1 was part of that, the original overpass, not overpass, but the bridge. I believe is how it went, and then we had some. I believe that may have been the only project we had on TL1.
Right.
I'm not sure, but then you had tier 2 and tier 3. Now we're in tier 2, and we do have some more projects, but they're like Thick Pin Road, Gibbs Lane, and then there's Gilchrist Park area, and some other, I think some areas off Not Pecan Road.
That'll be several $100,000
Yeah, so what I'm saying,
after putting in several.
there's more
million.
projects there, but it's still, what we put in versus what we get out of it is lopsided.
It is very lopsided. I mean, just opinion points here. I'm very much in favor of a single county T-Splosh like we had originally in 2018, where the majority of the money was going to stay here in Ware County and benefit us, but then, the state did what the state did and made us have two SPLOST even though the rule actually said a county could only have one, but nonetheless, but yeah, I'm just not in favor of a regional T-Splosh the way it's set up right now, just because we're putting in a lot of money out of this thing that's coming out of our our revenue that we should be getting. We're putting out a lot of it and it's going to everybody else. It's a bit of a socialist
Yes.
idea, where the people that make more put it all in one basket and everybody else gets the same share that I get.
No matter how hard you work or how much you.
Exactly. And it's just hard to, be motivated to get better if it's going to be taken away from you whenever you do better. Anyways, maybe we can budget around that. One thing that I've mentioned to my fellow commissioners is that, I know there's the thought about through the state, they're planning on doing a personal property tax elimination movement. And I'm not sure exactly where that's at, which, it could be good for taxpayer to not have to pay personal property taxes. I mean, it's like, hey, I saw my projected tax bill this year and I would love not to have to pay that. But whenever we're talking about, we get the majority of that 81% was coming from taxes. And I imagine out of that personal property taxes takes a big chunk when it comes to that. So then we have to do an offset of that same money that comes in. And if we're looking at, $20-25 million that we've got to come up with, well, then the next thing you know, Joe taxpayer is not having to pay personal property taxes, but now he's paying 1.5 to 2 cents extra at the stores whenever they buy anything, And so then we've got a higher sales tax in this area, and then it's going to be hard pressed to pass. It's going to be hard pressed to pass that to begin with. Then it's going to be hard pressed to pass a SPLOST in here to be able to get things like an Albany Avenue overpass, extra road paving around here, and getting the road work done that we want to get done, getting the buildings taken care of, buying police vehicles, fire, things like that we're having to deal with. So next thing you know, we're having to pass all these OSs to make up our pennies. And it's just going to be a difficult thing for us to do. And so I think the taxpayers need to understand that if we do go forward and we have to deal with the elimination of personal property taxes, then if they want to continue to get the services from the county that they're getting currently and even get anything better, then when they go to the ballot box, they're going to have to vote YES for the sales tax increase. And I realized then it gets spread over everybody that comes into town and everybody's moving, and that's great. I mean, that's fine and everything. Which, I mean, I do believe that a sales tax is probably the most fair tax, because then everybody that goes out and buys anything pays it. But it's just going to be one of those things. It's going to be I'm going to say a juggling act, but it's probably going to be more like a circus act to be able to balance everything whenever that time comes up. And so, luckily, I think the plan would be they'd give us 6-7 years it would eliminate based on tier levels, based on the property values over that 6 or 7 years. But we're going to have a job to do whenever it comes that time.
John, that thing it's not gonna cover the school tax though, is it? So you'll still be taxed.
Right. I think it's just what the county receives in. You're still going to get a tax bill based on the millage rate that the school board has.
That's right.
Yeah, school.
So you're still going to have that tax bill, and you're going to pay higher sales tax.
Sales tax, and you're
Which
still
the
gonna have school
education
tax.
system will get more of as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun times. But thank you for what you've done on this, and I appreciate your hard work and your team's hard work on this. And I think I was just telling the gentleman up here that we need to start preparing now, because if it doesn't happen this next legislative session, it's going to happen the next one. It's it's coming down the tracks. You can see the lights on the train. It's fixing to happen as far as eliminating personal property taxes all over the state. Florida's already done it. It's just moving through every state, and it's just one of those things that's going to happen. And so over the next several years, we need to go ahead and prepare now, and try to be as proactive as possible in tightening up our bootstraps. And unfortunately, we can't do everything on that everybody wishes that we could do. So, thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, John. Anybody else?
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Beverly. So really, this budget's gonna be up.
Sir?
It's gonna increase. It's gonna have to increase some.
Yes, sir. And one thing I wanted to add is, I didn't bring this to me, but bring this in with me. But I had it at our presentation is since 2017, the commission has rolled back the millage rate.
Yeah.
And it's been rolled back a little over 4 mills. And even though with inflation and everything, we've been able to cut the budgets and meet and fall under budgets for all those years. And we strive today. All the departments strive to bring our budgets down. But as I was telling some of the staff, I was talking to the chairman, inflation doesn't skip government.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't skip our employees. So, and that's why we're asking for, the COLA increase like we have past years as well. We went ahead and budgeted for 5%. Now, whether we want to do 3% now and then 2% in January, we can do that or leave that up to the commission to decide if we want to do that. But we went ahead and budgeted for the full 5 for a whole fiscal year. But with that, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's going to be tough. We're going to have to like Commissioner Tindall said, lace up the boots and pull them tight, and get through. So, but and then in the event we find out that some revenues aren't falling where they are, we may be coming back with the commission with an amendment to the budget with some more cuts throughout the year. So, but that's all I have. Unless you have any more questions.
Mr. Chairman. Yep, go ahead. And apologize for being late. I had to go to a service for internment this morning. But that way. But anyway, and I come in on the tail end of what Commissioner Turner was saying, and I'm pretty sure what he had said prior to me getting here was very productive and informative. But one thing I always look at, even when I was on the city council with budgets, it's kind of like you're shooting in the dark. You're going on maybe past, history and all this kind of stuff. But the climate that we're living in right now is a lot of uncertainties, and when things happen, a lot of times it eventually impacts the county in some kind of way, just like talking about the taxes and everything. And it started off as talking about the floss tax, and then now it's that air hose, and like I say, eventually they're going to get where they want to and try to eliminate the home, property tax. And I hope that works out, but you got to have that revenue come in from somewhere.
Right.
And I heard it mentioned about Florida, and one thing that differs, I guess, from Florida than Georgia is that the tourism down there. That's where they generate a lot of revenue. Where we got different things in Georgia, but not like Florida.
Right.
So, like I say, we just gonna have to kind of wait out there and just look for the best and hope for the best, and and as the county. I didn't realize until I come on the county commission how many things the county are responsible for. And whereas the city that has the luxury, they don't have all these different things, but we got so many different things that we got to handle. And, i.e., just like right now at the rec department, we're dealing with the air conditioning situation out there. These are things that come up that sometimes you don't know, and So, I think we as commission, we got to be cognizant and very, realistic that sometimes things come up. And so if it come up, we need to be in a position where we can try to at least address them financially.
Whenever we've got a 6.62 estimated increase in revenue and a 6.62 increase in expenditures.
Yeah.
And you're evening out every year.
Mhm.
We're not getting anywhere.
Right.
And I realize that in every budget, whether it be my home budget, my business budget, or this county budget, there's probably places in there that we could shave and cut expenses here and cut expenses there. But at some point, there's only, I think I took a class with old Dave Ramsey one time, and some of y'all know that if you use envelopes or what have you, but it's one of those things. The only way to get out of debt is to either increase your revenue or decrease your expenses,
Exactly.
or do a combination of both. And if we've already gone through and shaved off as much as we can in the expenditure side of things, then the only other way to get out of this hole is to increase our revenue. And I think from where you were heading on that was that, I mean, it may make people upset or mad and everything, but my plan would not be to take a rollback this year. So that way we can start getting a little bit more revenue to kind of build up some of this, some cushion. So that way, we have an increase of revenue and keep our expenditures
Right.
as low as possible.
Exactly.
But we're going to be in sad shape if we don't have available funds whenever it comes to where the state's cutting out a lot of our areas of revenue. So as it sits right now, I would say that we do not need to take a rollback this year. We need to keep it where it's
Right.
at and keep the millage rate where it's at, and then let's try to increase our revenue.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and keep on, Miss Beverly, trying to work with department heads and whatever to let's shave some budget everywhere we can. Yeah.
Do you think we can keep it where it's at, John, and not have to add something to it?
I mean, I
We're
think
adding it. I don't think we can make it without. If we,
So on our,
I mean, huh?
yeah, on our millage rate, right now we're early, for that, the numbers that we gave you earlier, during the first budget, presentations was, rough. And so we won't know a good number, until the Board of Assessors, I think they get down to less than 5% appeals. And then they'll have a better number of what that millage rate should
Right.
be, so.
And then once that time comes up, then the numbers will be put in, and I guess Roger will come in and give us an idea of like, all right, this would be your revenue if you take rollback, this will be your revenue if you keep it the same. And then if potentially we could see scenarios of if we wanted to increase the millage. And obviously right now, we don't know exactly what those numbers are, and I don't want to put any more burden on the taxpayers than anybody else does.
No.
And so, until we see what the numbers are going to be, but I would say what I'm getting at is that at a minimum, I would say that we don't take a
Right.
rollback.
Right.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, go ahead. Just for an example, fuel prices. I've talked with the manager about that whenever gas start going up. Now, if you just had one or two vehicles, that may not impact it that much, but we got a fleet of vehicles,
Right.
both diesel and gas. So, and we don't know if gas gonna keep going up or whatever, so we got to prepare for that. I mean, they say you prepare for war in the time of peace, so we just have to try to do it. And I understand what John is saying about, and I've always been a proponent if it merits a rollback, you give the rollback. But that's with all things being equal, everything being in a perfect world. But now we kind of don't know how things gonna go, so we need to do it because we can always come back and say and do budget amendments. But we know right now that there's a lot of uncertainties out there. I think we need to be proactive and try to, stick with what we have right now. And like I said, whenever the tax assessor and everybody, the Roger comes in and we have a better number, then we'll know whether we may have to go up a little bit on the minute. But like I said, I'm a taxpayer and I got a big envelope from Philip Carter back there. Don't y'all tell him, but I called him and asked him, do I need to get some smelling sauce? And now I'm calling 911 to be on standby when I open it up. But that's where we are right now.
It is, and
Yeah.
I'll say this budget doesn't include any new personnel.
Right.
That's what we have now.
Okay.
We don't have any US money on it anywhere. US money means unseen stuff.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I've seen that like that.
That unseen stuff.
Right.
And I always had plenty of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh, trust me, we
Beverly
get
don't
some of
have
that
an
too.
item for the US money, so,
Well, I mean, when you're talking about that, if we didn't have the money in the SPOS to cover $100,000 of air conditioner repairs
Right.
or replacements at the
Right.
rec department, where would we be?
Exactly.
We'd be getting a bunch of them big box fans from out there at the Home Depot or the Rural King and putting them into doors and blowing air through it. I mean, granted, that's what they did when we was kids
I'll going
at the
through
rec
your-
department, but people don't like that these days. They get comfortable with air conditioning and everything. So if that money's not there in the SPOS, where does that money come from?
Got to come from somewhere.
And if we don't have it in our reserves or what have you, then, and when you're talking about $100,000 for air conditioner, and I mean, we may have $8-9 million in reserves, but that's not a lot of money when you're coming to, a county that's going to be spending $1.5 million, $2 million a month, maybe more.
And just to give you an example, you said $100,000 air conditioner. There's three air conditioners out there, and they're all the same age.
And
So
they
you
all
know
cost the same.
And they all cost the same.
One just
price,
went
yeah.
out.
And one
Two-
and a half.
1.5, or
Yeah,
say,
one's out completely. One of the compressors out. It's a 2 compressor system.
Yeah.
So 1.5's out.
Yeah.
And, but we're at the point, like I sent out the text with the commission is what direction do you want to handle or go in? Do we want to throw some money at it out the window again and Band-Aid, or do we want to go ahead and try to go out for bids and get them replaced? So,
Like I said, if all of them are put in at about the same time, in all likelihood, they're going to pretty much follow suit. They're going to go out about the same
you can expect probably by the end of the summer, and I hope not, to replace all 3.
Yeah.
Just like the courthouse, all those units went out.
Same.
The lights,
And that's just the gym, I believe, right, Lance? Is Lance here? I thought I seen him come
yeah, I
out.
believe it's just the gym.
Yeah, I think that's just the gym air conditioners.
Yeah.
and they say the life of one now, not much over 10 years.
Mhm.
Well, and that's one thing that everybody has to understand is that, we can have nice facilities just like this building or any other building that we have, whether it be the courthouse, I realize that's an older building. But once we put the money in the building, well, that's not it. We've got to maintain those buildings, because if
Yeah.
not, we're not being good stewards of what we have in our
That's right.
community. So we have to put the money into those buildings to maintain them. And all the structures around, whether it be, air conditioning units, plumbing, landscaping, whatever, we've got to take care of it. And that costs money. And every year those costs go up. We're talking about, I remember from 2020 to 2025, there was probably an increase in cost of doing services by about 50 to 70%, depending on what service you were doing. And whenever we're doing a 6% increase every year, over 5 years, so that's a 30% increase. And if you got a 50% or 60% increase of cost of doing services, well, you're going backwards.
Going back.
And, even in my job, I'd like to get a raise every once in a while. And I'm sure the county employees would like to get a raise as well. And so, so we got to help maintain our, and I think that's just a couple of things that the general taxpayer needs to understand is that, if they're at their own job, they want good equipment to work with. They want a safe environment to work in. They want a pay raise every year. They want the benefits that are provided. And in order for us to do the same thing for the county employees, we've got to, sometimes we got to increase their revenue coming in. Same thing with a business, you know, in order to get those paychecks at the businesses that our taxpayers are working for, the cost of the product that they're providing, the service or the product goes up every year. And we've got to kind of fall in suit with that kind of stuff.
This is a little bit different from a business, though, ain't it?
Yeah, it is.
I always
With a
tell-
business, you can shake a bush and try to increase your revenue. Right now, what we have to do, we have to put it back on the
That's right.
on the taxpayer. I mean, and
Yeah.
it's a tough call to make.
Yeah, and some of them fellas might not be able to do it.
That's right.
That's the thing I look at is, yeah, I always tell a fella when he's working for me, I said, sky's the limit. You can make all you want to as long as you produce for me. Well, if it comes in, I'll pay you.
Right.
You know, but this here is not like that. There's no, we just do the best we can, you know. We got to hold our budget down.
And you know, we have a good staff, just not just trying to brag on them, but they've been analyzing and looking at charges that we've have, and they have been eliminating charges that you know we've been charged for service and not getting, that you know stemmed from a long time ago. So they've been going through and looking at those charges, and we're trying to cut it wherever we can cut it. So, you know, just like the phone bill, as Ms. York stated, that phone bill is going down tremendously. And so we're trying to do our part for our taxpayers as well.
So I know the one thing that you know, as we look to where, you know, potentially the cut of personal property taxes and you know the revenue lessening and not getting all that in. I honestly feel like that this would be a prime opportunity for us to engage in some conversation with the city, because I believe there are several services. If you know, I realize when you're talking about combining government and across the board, you know, people are looking for a you know a tall tree and a short rope to hang somebody on whenever it comes to that. But so we won't necessarily talk about combining government necessarily, but services across the board. There are several services that are being duplicated all across the city and the county. And if we combine those services, I feel like that we'll be able to run a more efficient service and get better coverage of that service if we combine these services across the board. You know, whenever we've got two departments of everything in a county this size, then I feel like we're just we're kind of going backwards on things. And so I think there are several services across the board that we could combine and cut money on budget, whether it be cut money on the city's budget or the county's budget, but overall cut the budget and be able to not have to raise taxes every year in order to cover the increase in cost of doing those services.
Yeah, I'm afraid we're probably gonna have to have an increase, because you can talk to anybody, you can ask anybody that you run into if things ain't higher than it was. I mean, all they gonna say, and how are we gonna still operate under the same thing? So it's gonna have to change.
And one thing, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, what I want to start here pretty soon is a capital improvement plan for our buildings, for our roads, for our fleet, and get that plan in place and how we're going to fund it. I think that's something that we've lacked over the years, that we've not had that plan for the commission to go by and look on. We just kind of, you know, went on what departments requested or waited till something went out, you know. So I think that will help, and you know, it's going to take some time to do, but that's one of the things that I'm going to look at trying to get started and get going. So
One thing, Mr. Chairman, we need to remember when the splosh comes up again, if it wasn't for this splosh, we'd be dead in the water right now. So that's
Yes.
something that when
Yeah.
it comes up again, we need to remember where we getting our money from and
Yep.
how much it's costing.
Yep.
A penny goes a long way.
It sure does.
'Cause I know 15, 20 years ago, a grader cost you $125,000. Now it's $325,000.
Yep.
And without that splosh, we wouldn't be grading no roads right now.
Yep. Yeah, same thing with those air conditioners. I imagine when we put them in, they wasn't but about 50,000. Now they're 100,000.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for SPOS, where would we be getting that money?
Well, if, you know, just, if it wasn't for Splost, we'd be across the parking lot over
Yeah,
there.
Splosh built that place, didn't it?
Yeah, well, it built this.
Yep.
And we'd be over there in the courthouse, and we wouldn't have the air conditioners in there, so we'd all have fans. Cause you know, Splosh replaced the air conditioners in the courthouse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That and ARPA.
Also,
So,
well, I about to say, when
um,
you mentioned that about the air conditioner at the courthouse, and shortly after I come on, one went out, and we talking about 380,000 dollars,
Yeah,
something
we
like
spent a
that.
bunch of
I mean,
money.
you gonna go out there to Lowe's and get the air conditioning unit for the
Right.
courthouse, and shortly after that, another one went out. And thank God, you know, we had the ARPA money at that time and SPOS, so you know, it's one of them things, and I think that's one of the beauties of the SPOS tax. And I think I heard it alluded to earlier about you have people from outside the community that's helping, you know, fund a lot of these things. And naturally, like I said, when we buy, but the only time you're a taxer, you pay that penny is when you buy stuff.
mhm.
You know, so
Talking air conditioners, another thing that we're doing, just citizens are aware, or commission may not be aware, you know, in the past, we've, a fan motor go out, one of those big units, several $1,000s to fix. You know, train comes in, they bring in a new motor, they take the old motor with them. We don't do that anymore. They take that motor out, we keep the old motor.
right,
Well, one is we got one motor in spare. We have a spare motor now, because we go and we carry it to Baxley, and we get it restrung. And so now we've got a motor sitting on
the
the shelf.
fan motor.
Yes,
I think that's good.
to put back in. And yeah, that wasn't my idea. That was Billy O'Brien when he was here.
Yeah.
He asked, could he do it? And I said, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's what we do now, is trying to save money on that. So, and I think we have a guy now that works on staff that can change the motor as long as we have the motor here,
Right.
and we can get on top.
Talk about the life expectancy of them. Usually within 10 years, they're obsolete. You can't get parts for them anymore, too. So that we've run into that a lot.
Right. And they're made cheaper and cheaper. You know, we've already had to have some coils repaired on some of those, I think. You know, had a leak, and, you know, everything's going up, but everything's getting thinner, right? I mean, you know, the copper that they use in it's thinner now, and what have you. So, we do the best we can, and you know, I said it before, and I tell people, I see them in town when I go shopping or whatever, go out of town, I see somebody from out of town, and my wife tells me I can talk to that wall over there now, because I talk to them, and you know, and I thank them for coming here and shopping, because without that 1 cent, we'd be in
That's right.
trouble.
Exactly.
You know, I would like to say I get more calls about it being hot at the recreation department than I do the roads being bumpy. So people's used to air conditioner now.
Yeah.
You know, it
I
always
kind of like it myself.
always amazed me. Air conditioning doesn't go out till it's about 102 degrees. That's when it goes out. You know?
Yeah.
So it's-
Yeah. If you're gonna dance, you gotta pay the fiddle.
Yeah, and we're
I like
shopping
that.
now to, on those air conditioners. The original quotes we got were over $100,000 a piece
one for a wreck.
for the wreck, but we're shopping, and I think we've got a solution where we'll, possibly get, two for the price that was quoted for one, so.
Oh, that's good.
One thing, James, which I talked to you about, and I don't know exactly how it works, but I would hope that we can get the units to where we can control the thermostats
It
on
won't
it.
be computer. It's gonna be a thermostat
Right.
and a sensor, and it'll have one of those boxes around it so that not anybody can come
Right.
and adjust the temperature. It can only be adjusted by staff.
Cause I just thought that was always strange that someone else is controlling the temperature. They may be somewhere where it's cold.
Right.
You burn it up, you know.
We're gonna get away from the computer system out
Yeah.
there. So, yeah, I hear it all the time in our office. You know, it's cold, and I never hear it's hot. But I hear it's cold. Yeah, heater's underneath the desk. I said, well, they set on 70, so 72.
So are we going to go into anybody's got any public comments on this thing?
Yeah, if
You-
we
you
have
got-
anybody here that wants to
Have anybody
comment,
here that oppose it,
um,
the budget? Oppose what we doing?
um,
Yeah, I guess now if anybody's got something to say, good or bad, be time to come up to the
yeah,
podium.
or if you're a department and you're requesting that something be changed, I mean, it's time to come up and then we'll go. I know we've had some a request from the library to add, I think 10,400 to it, theirs. And then so we may look at that during the process as according to what these phones come, but we'll let you know on that one. So,
Yeah, we had some on the put on the positions. How many do we have of that? One or two?
Two positions.
Two.
Yeah,
want to talk?
and I was hoping that,
I was hoping Roger would come by.
yeah, I was hoping that maybe we could do that, you know, because the two department heads that made the request for those additional employee had valid reason, I think, you know, for what they want to do. And sometimes, you know, you may say we adding on, that's increasing your expenditure. That may be true, but it can also be saving you too, or maybe helping increase your revenue.
Well, I will, you kind of looking at that as how I feel, with additional staff is with HR, you know, I work with HR every day, just about, and working with her and us trying to get together to review applications, to do, you know, to meet on personnel issues, to do whatever. You know, and then you look at our, I mean, it's hard for us to line our schedules because she's dealing with so much other things, and then also looking at where our personnel policies are now. We need some changes in our personnel policies. They need to be updated, and right now is, you know, it's hard to have time to work on those. So I can see where you know, where she could use another person. And then in Roger's office, also, you know, I've spoken to Roger, and if that person he is wanting to hire, as he's told me, is to help with the delinquent tax collections and so forth, and so I can see where that could actually improve and actually help us get some more
What I'm saying, revenue.
more funds. You know, if I think I understand the commission right in our previous meeting, is we're going to start basically his advertisement for, well, there's a couple things we're going to do. One is that the commission, these lots has been on there for several years that nobody bids on. I think the commission would want to assume those and have them put in Ware County's name, and then maybe sit them for a bid out, so maybe neighbors could buy them to add them onto their property, so that they don't keep going in as you know, it costs us advertisement every time we advertise for them. So that, and then also having that advertisement as I call it a revolving loan, or not loan, but revolving fund, is that, you know, say he advertises for the first one, tax sale, and it's $15,000. Well, when he sells property, that advertisement fee is collected. A portion of the advertisement fee is collected towards that. And so what he collects on that sale is put that back in his budget for advertising, so that we can keep and have more sales throughout the year instead of just two sales. I think that's the consensus I got from the commissioner last meeting, was to do that. So if that's the case, and we're doing that, I can see where that can benefit us as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So on those ones where, let's say you get a lot that nobody bids on, why wouldn't the land bank that we've already established many years ago, why wouldn't they just go in there and take that?
They're
piece of
not
property?
taking them. I think they. I don't know.
Like, why are we
exactly
being
on
so
that.
selective if it's in there and we have an opportunity to have them market it, to put it on which is what they're supposed to do, take the properties, put it out there for sale, so then that way we
Right.
can put it back on the tax roll. Because the thing is if we, as the county commission, takes that property on, then we're responsible for that property. Then we're responsible for selling it. We're responsible for putting it out there to to get a realtor or somebody involved with it. So then it costs us more money when we've got a board that's supposed to be doing that same thing.
We may have to take possession of it to give it to them. I'm not sure yet.
No, it
but I'll
doesn't
check
work
some.
that way. The way the land bank's set up, the land bank has the authority to take the property. All they have to do is there's a few hurdles that they have to jump over, and they're not big hurdles.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of they say, okay, the property is delinquent on taxes. It's up for a tax sale. Nobody bid on it, and if nobody bid on it, then it makes it even easier.
Right.
Yeah, let land bank.
All they have to do is go in there and say, we want this property. We seize the property it gets forfeited, and then the land bank gets it.
Okay.
Instead of us having to go, we've got a board that's supposed to be doing that same thing, and they just need to quit being so selective on what they're wanting. You can't always get one that's going to have a high-rise motel on it.
Right.
That's going to turn big dollars and everything. I mean, I really don't care if it turns a profit on it on the sale. It's a matter of, is it going to turn a profit whenever we put it back on the tax roll, and now we're getting tax revenue from it. I mean, how many pieces of property are we looking at that are out there doing that? And you sell it to Mr. Burst, and all of a sudden it's a business, and we get more taxes off of it. Isn't that right?
There you go. You're right on point.
Let's hear from
we just need to put more pressure on that land bank authority to do what they're supposed to be doing and begin with.
Yeah. And
Let's hear from the.
Yeah, please.
Sorry.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead. Let's-
I walked up
We
here
could-
right
we-
when that started.
Hey, we can stay on the soapbox all day long.
So we did request more money for the library here.
Right.
We've already worked on our budget to try to give raises for our staff, and we've kind of worked that in, but our budget's really tight with that, with the raises included. Basically what happened is when Pierce County dropped out of our region, we lost some state funding. And so we used to use some of our state funding to help with our salaries, but now it's all locally. We have to use our local funds for salaries. So that's kind of a big part of why we asked for an increase last year, and we're asking for one this year as well.
Okay. Y'all got any comments on that?
yeah, I know, like I said, they did lose the funding source, I guess, from
Yeah.
Pierce County. And so, got to get it from somewhere, right?
And our power bill is pretty high. So that's one of the reasons we asked last year is we're trying to keep our operations up. So.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hartman. What is that increase the library was asking for?
10,400 for the year. So, if the
Because they
commission,
lost, what percentage did y'all lose in y'all's income? Pierce County pulled out. Okay. Okay. Any more on that?
Mr. Chairman, I don't want to put Roger on the spot, but maybe he can enlighten us just a little bit about the land bank and how that procedure works as far as when you have a property you don't sell. Can the land bank, can they get those properties? I know, I can't remember, I was on the land bank, but I can't remember some procedure they have to go through also.
Yeah, there's a procedure that I have to go through. And typically what it is, when I do a tax sale list, I get with the land bank, and they pick the property that they're interested in. And it's always just the city lots. And just depends on what location it is.
So they can just get the city lots.
So they just pick the ones they want instead of you telling them to go ahead and take them? We can't tell them to take them?
Well, I get a list, and I'll go through the list, and they're like, well, and they'll look at it, and they'll pick ones that they're interested in. And they have to do like the county would like to bid them in. And that's all they can do is bid them in. And there's a few that they've done recently. Two of them exactly is right there on the corner of Nichols and Quarter Z, beside the DOT's building and their parking lot. And there's two lots right there on that corner that's bare, and they bought those.
The land bank.
the land bank did.
What if you have some that nobody bids on at the sale, and the land bank can't do nothing with them?
No, it has to be done at the sale.
Can the land bank buy them at the sale? Can they bid them
They
in?
can bid them in at the sale, and that's it.
But if they don't sell at the sale, what, do we just set on
It just sits and accrues interest and penalties.
And then it go, and then we have to advertise it again,
it again?
over
And-
and over and over.
But
The
there's
other
no
thing it
way,
does, it causes an inflated digest
there,
values.
there's no way that the land bank could take them though and do something with them?
They could, but they'd have to bid them in. And them as a board, they would have to decide which properties that they want. Have
So,
to bid them in.
so when you're talking about bid them in, it's like as far as making an offer on the property
No.
or what? How,
So
explain that to
the
me.
minimum bid is, if it's, say it's $2,000. I'm selling, this property for $2,000. That's the minimum bid. That's the opening bid. That's all they can do is open the bid. So, and they're like you guys where they don't have to pay the taxes, but they have to pay the fees. And they have to pay the school taxes unless the school gives them a waiver.
Right.
And it has to be a written waiver and that has to be given to me.
Right, because they decided to do it on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
And the county and the city did a blanket saying,
Yeah,
No taxes.
Yeah, but the way the land bank was formed, through legislation and all that stuff and everything that's set up for them, they're required to pay the school taxes unless the school waives
Exactly.
right,
the one on those, and they're, each, properties, are individual. They can't do a blanket, there's gotta, their property specific.
gotcha.
So they probably waive it because they ain't getting nothing out of it no way, so. you
Well,
know,
they do at times, yes.
Till they, somebody
But,
pays the taxes or something.
You know, and, you know, like I said, y'all was talking about, you were mentioning about the county bidding them in, and there was an old, I was going through the files and I found an old resolution where the county had authorized that, but I'm not following that one because that was done back in the 70s, and I don't know if there's been a resolution to change it or anything like that, so it was never, continued.
Okay.
And that's what, when we was speaking our, when I was talking to y'all before, Jennifer said she was gonna look into, the county attorney, she's gonna look into. For y'all.
Okay. Roger, can you explain the, how putting on another employee would help us? I mean, could it,
For my office?
yeah, for your office?
Yes, well, there's a lot of delinquent taxes. And the percentage is not that great, but the money that's outstanding, that's continued growing, it's large. And that frees me up, one individual who can focus just on that. And the other thing, which, I did not know, I did not know the timing of today's hearing. So I would have been here sooner. But as soon as I walked in the office, Laura asked me, "Are you supposed to be up there? They're talking about you." And,
Yeah.
and
Only good stuff.
it was brought up about the advertising and all that. Right now, my advertising budget, it costs a little over $10,000 to advertise one tax sale. And there's times I've had only $18,000 in my budget. But every property that I sell, that advertising fee that's for that property is refunded to the county. And y'all count that as income. And it's coming from my budget. And that's what hems me up from I can only have two. Where before, I could have 4 or 5. But the other thing, it was when the newspaper sold, the fees changed because of the shape of the paper. It's a longer, narrower paper. So their fees cost, their price schedule is totally different than what it was. But the position will more than pay for itself. Will more than pay for itself.
Okay. Any, okay. Got anything else for Roger?
No, I just know that, when when we were having our budget negotiation and everything, he made an appeal for it and stated the reason, which I think was a valid reason, as Ms. Young did, as to why. It's not just like they just wanting to get another employee, but they stated the reason why and how it could really benefit.
Yeah, I never come to you guys wanting stuff. That I don't put anything in my budget that it'd be nice to have. I just put needs, and I need this position, and she'll more than pay for itself. It'll more than pay for itself.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Y'all got any more?
I was just looking forward to seeing this meeting in, I guess, Pierce County about this L House and
Oh, yeah,
that's
L host, that's gonna be, split as if the city and county comes to an agreement about the split and the citizens voted in, that sales tax is a 1 cent addition or half cent to 1 cent addition to the sales tax. And that'll go directly to the homesteaded properties for the help wipe off all the county and all the city homestead tax. And any amount that they have that's left over, any amount that comes left over, I have to apply it to the rest of the properties countywide.
Yeah, that thing I have to be explained real good because they several of them asked me, well, let's wipe it all out. I said, no, the school will still be taking
Yeah,
it.
the school will still
gonna
be
send out a
taxed.
tax bill.
But the county and the cities will pretty much be wiped away.
Yeah.
I know for the county, y'all would be wiped away for the homestead properties.
So this is real similar to that same.
It's similar, but it's different. The floss, what that was designed was to lower everybody's taxes all at once.
Right.
And then the legislature, they decided that they were going to do away with property taxes. And you can't just do away with property taxes. There's got to be something, mechanism to fund the city and counties. And that's what they come up with. And instead of doing that floss, they went to the L host, which is local homestead.
So then that'll just be for personal properties, or what's the homesteaded property?
For the homestead properties. Right. And it's for the homesteaded properties. And like I said, the amount that we have in homesteaded, that we get from homesteaded, compared to how much money we will get from 1 cent, which we currently get on the loss, it would reduce, the millage rate would be reduced about 4.5. That's what the millage rate would be reduced by. And the amount of money that would go to the homesteaded properties just for the county will be $5.7 to $6 million a year. And they'll continue growing.
Yeah.
Do you know what the total homestead would bring in now on our ad valorem tax? I mean,
how much it
increase brings in?
I did.
Would that cover it? Probably 5 million.
6 million.
6 was it? I think.
I think it's around $6 million.
Around 6 million. So it almost covered all of it.
Yeah, it would pretty much cover almost all of it. They might have a $5 bill.
Okay.
So the difference between the floss and the LHOST is just that the floss was going to cover all property taxes,
Right.
whereas this is just going to be homestead.
This is going to be homestead only, and then any
remainder
money left over will then be
distributed to everybody else.
Yeah,
To the rest of them. Okay.
Thank you, Roger.
Any more? Thank you, Roger.
Yep. That's
Then Joe wanted a tire, what was it?
Tire.
County,
balance,
we had
tire
an
changer.
increase, tire changer. Could you come up, Joe? He had an increase in his, didn't he?
Not for the
For-
tire changer was
was
something
that
we're gonna
for?
look at of a
What was
splosh.
that he was wanting?
That was
That
one thing he
time.
did want.
Tire changing
Yeah,
machine.
tire changing machine.
But we were supposed to be looking at that out of a SPOS account, I believe.
We're gonna look at it at the splash account.
Yeah, that was 80-something thousand dollars.
How much?
80-something thousand dollars.
8,000, yeah.
It was 87, right at $87,000.
He was gonna explain to us how it could make us money, I mean, save us enough
Well,
money to do it.
And I was gonna bring it before the commission, but I spoken to Mr. Meadows and told him that, we needed a plan what we're gonna do with the old tires. Instead of just stacking them up out there behind Public Works. So that's what we was waiting on, to get a plan from him for disposal of the old tires.
Did we get a grant? You talking about the old tires
The
now?
tires he takes off the cars, what are we
Well,
gonna
we
do with
supposed to have a
those?
grant, and Melinda's
we have
probably
to-
working on that grant. We had a tire grant, didn't we?
We don't have it, we have to, we're trying to get all the info to apply for it.
Have
One
you been
thing is
asked, have you been asked to do it? Did we ask you to do it, or we,
Well, I told you that I would,
you, yeah,
but I
okay.
will work on it. Now that I'm back on,
Do we want her to do that?
is that
Ask for that
started?
grant?
Scrap
Yeah,
tire
yeah.
grant?
Tire?
Yeah, 'cause I get 100 calls a day.
Yeah,
Do we have anybody, don't they, some people purchase these tires now? Because I know they use them for a lot of different things.
Yes, so there are several different, some of the local, I say mom and pop shops, some of the local, they buy tires, and then once we do the big tires, the 22.5s, we'll start buying those off state contract, and they'll pay us, when we get a tire, they'll buy a tire, or give us $65 a core for that, where now we're not getting anything for that. So that will help offset on the big tires, that will help offset the price on it, because now we're not getting any core prices. We paying another company to do it, where when we get it off state contract, they will buy it from us.
okay.
Joe, can you just, a rough estimate, I think I asked this before, what we paid, just not in front end alignments and nothing like that, but just for changing out those tires and balancing, just in, for the last year, I know you haven't been here a year.
No, I think when
Everybody
when
get
me and Miss Bennett and Mr. Schubert have looked at this, it's around $80,000.
That we
Is
paying,
what, that's where we're at, I wanna say till May, we hadn't done June.
that's just
so
on tire
That's
changing
just on,
and
that's just on
balance.
tires and, tire changes, that's not on alignments or anything like that, that's on tire purchases and tire remounts, and that it was around $80,000, and we hadn't got through June yet.
And that was the purchase of the tires.
That's
And
from
mount.
purchasing from, different, we get them from, Boulevard, some from Miller, we get some from, All Seasons. That's
Yep.
where do we get them, and
Yeah, what I was just trying to find, just like when that machine is to change the tire to balance it.
we can
What-
change it, balance it, and do everything in-house.
Okay, but what I'm saying is roughly what did we pay in the last year? Maybe Melissa may know, just for that part, not purchasing the tire.
Oh,
Just the labor.
just the
Just the
labor, I would say labor.
I mean, what do you think of every tire you change, you gotta pay?
Every tire we
Mountain.
changing now, we're paying, for a mountain fee, we're paying anywhere between $25 to $50, and if it's a big agriculture tire, it's up to $130.
Okay,
Just for the big tires, it's up to $130.
Yeah,
yeah.
And I would hate to say, but all of that would be, if we got this equipment, all of that would be done in-house, and not,
Right.
we'd save all of that.
And you say, and I think one of the questions I asked you when you first started talking about it, you're not gonna have just one employee dedicated. Pretty much, you're gonna have a lot of people cross journey.
Everyone in our shop will be able
Okay.
to do this.
Right.
And I've seen it work before in my previous experience. I've seen this work and save money.
Okay.
And, the downtime, we have a public safety vehicle or any vehicle come in, we have to take the tire off now. We have to take it to another facility to get that tire fixed. Then we have to wait, go back and pick it up, and the whole time that ambulance, fire truck, police car is out of service. If we had this, equipment in here, we can do all of that in-house. So when it comes in, we can change the tire, do everything and have them back on the road in, 20, 30 minutes compared to
Yeah.
a couple hours or longer.
Okay. All right, anybody got anything else for Jason? No. All right, appreciate you coming. All right, any more? Okay, come on up, please.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jason.
I appreciate the manager speaking up on the HR request for another employee. This is gonna be very scientific, so brace yourselves, okay? I really, really, really need another employee in my office. So no, HR is not a money-making department for the county, right? But the hidden benefit is the money that I potentially save the county by what we do in this office, right? We are looking at liability, we're looking at claims, we're looking at employment laws. We're mitigating issues that come up to keep us from being sued, keep us from going to court. So the hidden cost, it's really hard to put a number on it because of the things that have been prevented, right? And also our employees are our greatest asset, right? And so the department that helps manage personnel, I think, is very valuable. And sometimes I think that kind of falls, in the cracks because we have so many other issues going on, like roads. Like that's probably our biggest thing, right? We're always focused on roads and infrastructure and buildings and air conditioners and things like that because we need all those things. And I think the employee side of it sometimes gets kind of lost in translation. But it is a huge job, and it's been very difficult, especially over these last handful of years. Things have just gotten so much more convoluted, like employment laws and things that everything is more beneficial to the employee as far as the employer job goes. So there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that many people aren't aware of. And honestly, people don't tend to think about HR until they need HR. But I promise you, if you didn't have an HR department, or if you didn't have a competent HR department, you'd find yourself in a world of trouble when it comes to personnel issues and employment laws and processing claims. And like it's very convoluted, and a lot of work goes in behind the scenes. So that's my spiel. Appreciate you listening. Have any questions? I'm happy to answer.
Anybody got
Yeah,
anything?
appreciate everything you do in your department, Michelle, and not to trivialize the different things that happen in office, but when you made your presentation when we're doing the budget, one of the rationales is that this employee will be doing some of the things now that you're having that's taking up a lot of your time. So if you could get someone in there, then you can focus on the bigger picture.
Yes.
Would that be a fair assessment?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a lot of big picture things that I am unable to focus on unless I'm doing it after 5 o'clock or on the weekends, which still some of that I do. You know what I mean? I get issues that come up all the time after hours, but I also have a family of 7 in my house, and I have other obligations and things that I do. So I can't do HR 24 hours a day, right? But while I'm here, I do the best I can to manage. I do the best I can to delegate to the one person in my office that I do have. But like the manager was saying, we have a hard time even getting our schedules on the same page to do interviews and to go over applications for the positions that we have to manage. So things like that. And then if we do have interviews, that can take me a half a day away from the office. Do you know how much work piles up in the course of a half a day in my office? You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. So it would greatly benefit not just me in the HR office, but the county in general to have another employee in HR. It would very much streamline our processes, and it would very much free up my time to look at big picture things like our policy manual. More in-depth look at benefits, all kinds of things, succession planning, putting programs in place. safety, all that. It's a lot. It's a lot for 2 people.
Okay, any more?
That's all I have.
Thank you.
Appreciate
your
everything.
time.
Okay, thank you, Teresa. Anything else? I think we went over about everything, ain't we, myself, we talked about. Get any. That should be it. Commission comments?
I made plenty.
Is that about covered all, James?
It does. I just need some direction from the commission on what you want us to give you some new numbers with those positions in there, or what do you want to for next? So when we have it, when we adopt the budget next week.
I don't really see how you can do it right now, to tell you the truth. But, if we don't roll the tax digest back, we're still gonna be short of money, right?
Yeah.
Sir,
If we don't, if just by just not rolling the digest back, we're still gonna be short.
from the rough numbers, we would be roughly, yes, sir.
To add some more on, I'm wondering about that.
Well, I think you mentioned it earlier about hospital, we may have to go up half a meal.
Yeah, I'm afraid we're gonna have to do that anyway.
I mean, because right now we're close. It's tight as it is right now without even the employees, right?
Yes, sir.
But and thinking in order to try to incorporate to have the employees, which is not. I mean, we're talking about money, but it's not no great amount. But in order to do that, we just about gonna have to we're gonna have to go up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you said something, well, if it went up like a half a meal, then a big meal, you know, what it would generate based on what we have right now, the number we have right now.
Yes, sir.
I would like to see some numbers so that way we're not speculating.
Right.
As far as adding in the requested employees to, you know, see what we can do.
Okay.
And then
We can email those out to you.
possibly some, you know, options on increasing revenue.
I have those two. Email those to you as well.
Yep.
Yeah, you're probably gonna have to add that half a meal.
Mm-hmm. And you know, and there's other options as well. I've been here since 2000, and I can remember one increase in fees in the planning department. And I think we went from $50 to $100 on subdivisions, plus $1 per per lot or something. So, but as far as like the building permit fees and all that, they haven't been raised since, or been looked at since 2000. So what I would like to do also is to look at the surrounding counties and just see if we're comparable with them as far as those fees as well.
I think that'd be a wise, prudent thing to do because, like I say, if fees keep being the same, but then the cost of your employees to do that work and do all that stuff is going up, it's kind of like counterproductive, you know.
Yeah. Right. So I'll give that directive to the staff. I think they're here. Yeah. Dave and Dustin's here. So
yeah. And he said it's been since 2000. You don't think it's gone up since 2000?
Building permits, I don't think it's went up at all. Some of the planning stuff has went up a little bit. Like your subdivisions went up from $50 base fee to $100 base fee or something, plus $1 per lot or $2 per lot. I can't remember exactly, but and rezonings went up a little bit, and road name change, road abandonings went up. But as far as building permits, I don't believe they've been up since I've been here. So.
Well, and those are the kind of things that you've got really needs to be increased on a regular basis, so that way you don't go from a $50 to $100 fee.
And it's not that I haven't tried.
Yeah.
When I was the planning director, I went to the commission several times and just asked, you know, not on the record, but off the record, how they felt about the possibility of, looking at the fees. And basically I was told, you know, we don't think we need to do that right now. So that's what we've left it alone.
Yeah, and then what happens is 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road, you gotta do a significant increase and then
Right.
everybody goes bananas.
Yeah,
You turn the ship slowly, it doesn't rock it as bad.
right.
That's right.
Just do it in small increments, you know, instead of, like I said, doing it all a big hit at one time.
That's
If you do it too big, you'll drive people away, you know.
That's right.
And even with that, I would still,
Permits and
I would
stuff.
still look at small increments and just have
Right.
a improvement plan considered for the next, 5, 6 years, 7 years, 10 years, or whatever. So,
Dave, you up there, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Dave, go ahead.
Chairman, Commissioners, appreciate your time. I just want to bring up the fact that I've been looking at the different fees that we have, fee structures, and it's very high on my list to look at increasing those fees. And a couple things that I probably also want to look at is the different licensing fees, like alcohol license as well as business license, potentially bring those up. And our alcohol license ordinance hasn't been up, it's basically been in place since 2005. And I have some ideas on that to change that ordinance to bring it up to date and possibly have those renewed every single year, other than just paying a renewal fee, filling that paperwork, paying a renewal fee, actually going through, in a sense, an abridged edition of the process. Because right now, once somebody gets an alcohol license, it's good for pretty much ever, as long as they pay the fees. So we could have somebody that's in violation of a code section or had been arrested, and we don't need, or for a felony, and we don't even know about it. So I'll probably be talking to you guys about that, and that bring in additional revenues as well. So I just want to make just a broad statement saying that it's very high on my radar and on my list to accomplish, and I'll work with closely with the county manager to get that done this year.
Okay.
Um,
If we increase fees though, are we increasing in selling permits or all the permits and everything? Are they increasing, climbing every day like are we growing or we just,
we
we
give
don't
them
wanna run people out, you know,
well, we're
not
actually,
raising
if you look,
fees.
sorry for interrupting, Chairman, but if you look at our fees, we're one of the lowest in the South.
Really?
So we're actually looking at bringing our fees up to be consistent across the board with the surrounding counties. I personally feel that we're leaving money on the table. I mean, it's a good deal in the way we're structured here. You know, most people are more than happy to do business with us.
Yeah.
There are some trying to get around, the process where we have the issues, but I'd say 98% or better, 99% are happy to do business here in Ware County.
You have did some comparisons on other counties
We have, yes,
around
sir.
us and we're way lower than.
We are lowest.
Okay. Okay, I appreciate
All right.
that.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. Thank you, Dave. Anybody else?
Thanks, Dustin.
Dustin?
Howdy again. Thank y'all for y'all's time.
Thank you, Dave.
I was just going to reiterate some of the things that David mentioned. I've also been reviewing the fees for neighboring counties and communities and similar sized counties in the state. And overall, our fees, as far as like the planning side of things, your subdivisions and whatnot, ours are pretty much all significantly below nearby counties and communities, as well as other parts of the state.
Yeah.
So that is something that I have been looking into the past several months, and plan on trying to bring something.
Well, I appreciate that because we needed to know that because I didn't want to do it if we were already above everybody or up to them. But, if we're lower, then I'm okay with it.
Yeah, in fact, on several of them, counties like Pierce County, Brantley and Glenn County are
Oh,
several
yeah.
hundred on some of the items of what we have, so.
Okay, that's good to know.
So
Anybody
ours
got
have been
anything
kept
else?
pretty low for the most part, and we haven't had any complaints from folks about that for the most part.
Is our permits increased this year in numbers or
I'm sorry, what was that?
increased? Have we had any increases in the amount of permits we sold this year compared to previous years? Or are
As
we
far as we can tell,
going down
we
or
have
up?
had an
or-
increase overall, because as far as the amounts that are coming in for it, and we did a lot more, you know, making sure folks are paying for stuff like they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. I hate to put it in that way, but yeah.
So be a lot of mobile homes coming in, ain't? Yeah.
They deal with a lot of the mobile home stuff on that.
Yeah,
so
he said
a better person to-
Mobile home permits.
So on the, in regards to building permits and stuff, when at its peak, yes, we did, increase in the number of permits. That is all, subsided and pretty much stabilized now. Coming into 2026, this fiscal year, at one point we were running anywhere from, 2 to 3 new building permits a day on average. By my recollection, that has slowed down to close to a couple every other week. The majority of the permits that are coming in now are either renovation permits or mobile home permits are really big right now, moving permits and such. But on average, it's pretty much stabilized to what it was before the run.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Y'all got any questions?
I'd just like to say, Mr. Chairman, on adding on new employees, I think it needs to be looked at by departments. James, maybe, you know, he's the manager, he needs to look and see who really needs what, instead of what I'm saying, one department may really need somebody and somebody else might need somebody, but not as bad. We need to do it by department, you know, instead of.
Okay.
I hate to penalize somebody that really needs help because we can't hire somebody else from help. You see what I'm talking about? So James can, I mean, he's, you know, can determine that.
Okay.
To answer your question about planning and codes, in 25, they collected $99,428, and this year so far, they collected $132,250.
It increased a little bit.
About $33,000.
Okay. All right. Anything else needs to be brought to our attention? Got any commission comment? Okay, we need to. I hear a motion to adjourn this.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Got a motion to adjourn. And I got a second. Let's vote on it. Mr. Burris?
Aye.
Mr. Tindall? Mr. Lucas? Mr. Cox?
All right.
Chair votes aye. All right. That's it. We
Thank
just
you.
voted on it. Meeting adjourned.